almost a decade, the government has been encouraging motorists to switch to diesel. As a result, we have by far the highest proportion of diesel cars in Europe. But diesel causes air pollution, and air pollution kills over 1,000 people in this country every year. So is it time to ditch diesel? And if it is, who should carry the cost? I'm joined now by Alan Nolan, Director General of the Society of the Irish Motor Industry, and by Dr. Cara Augustenborg, Chairperson of Friends of the Earth Ireland. Cara, we have the law of unintended consequences here, a well-intentioned move to reduce CO2 emissions, which worked, but it has this side effect. So how do we repair the damage?
Yeah, we've had a lot of silo thinking when it comes to our actions on climate and our actions on air quality. We've learned a lot from the way we saw behavioural change when the government changed the tax structure on motor vehicles to address carbon emissions. Then we saw a change, and we can now build on that and say, okay, now we know that diesel vehicles are causing very harmful health effects. And so we need to build that into our structure too.
By doing what?
Well, there's a lot of things we could do. So we could address those tax issues, but what we really need to do is discourage the purchase of new diesel vehicles. I mean, Ireland is way above average in our purchase. We purchase about 70% of our new vehicles are diesel versus a European average, which is about 50%. So we need to get that way down, and probably the first thing we should do is actually change the VRT structure so that we are taxing those vehicles heavily so that we no longer purchase them.
OK, no longer purchase them, but the real problem is probably the older diesel cars that are on the roads already. And if somebody bought a diesel car because the government was encouraging them to do so, it is a bit unfair if the government then turns around and, for instance, increases the duty on diesel, so it makes it more expensive to drive them.
Sure, and so anything we do needs to happen gradually so people have time to prepare for that. But we need to encourage people generally to get out of their cars altogether. I mean, the future that we have committed to in our Low Carbon Development Act is one where our vehicles are fossil fuel free and we are heavily relying on sustainable transport options.